Welcome to this video about the symptoms of anxiety, brought to you by freeyourmind.uk. But first, let's take a quick look at what anxiety is. We describe anxiety as a strong, lasting, and disproportionate feeling of unease, worry, or fear. When you have anxiety, pattern matches deep within the brain can trigger powerful emotional responses. The processing can be well beyond the reach of our conscious mind, so it can be very hard to control. So, what are the symptoms of anxiety? First of all, there's just feeling nervous or worried. Your brain has decided that something is happening that it wants you to be anxious about, so it's putting you on high alert. You may not always know what your brain is anxious about or why, but it will have triggered that pattern for anxiety. And sometimes you'll find it's hard to think about other things as your brain keeps pulling your attention back to that specific concern. Next, your body will increase your heart rate. As that anxiety pattern match puts you on high alert, it is engaging your primal fight, flight, freeze response. Your body will start pumping more oxygen to your muscles so that you're physically more ready to take action. The feeling of your increased heart rate may even create feelings of unease in its own right. You'll also be breathing faster. Anxious breathing is often faster and happens higher up in your chest. It's preparing you for action. This can lead to hyperventilation as all the oxygen builds up in your body. In fact, you can see what it feels like to have an anxiety attack just by breathing high and fast, but sit down first and stop after a minute to keep yourself safe. You could also have difficulty catching your breath. While it may feel like you can't breathe with anxiety, it's often because you actually got too much oxygen in your body rather than not enough. Your body is trying to stop you from breathing so fast so that it can regulate oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. Focusing on low and slow breathing can help to reduce that feeling. You may also find yourself trembling. Your brain has also injected your body with lots of stress hormones as well as all that extra oxygen. They're all natural chemicals to help you fight or run from that perceived threat, which would have been great if you were facing tigers millions of years ago, but it's not so good for situations at home, in public, at the shops, or at work. Some people with anxiety also find they're sweating more. That physical response expects your core temperature to increase because it's expecting you to run or to fight. To control that temperature, it will increase the levels of sweating. For many people, they find they're sweating more in a situation but don't know why, and it's often the brain has triggered an anxiety pattern match, which may not make sense to your conscious mind, but it still has created that physiological reaction. There's also IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome, to consider. If you're about to fight or run, your body knows that you don't need a full stomach, so you might create feelings of irritable bowel syndrome. This is often particularly noticeable if you find you keep needing the toilet or getting stomach pains when doing particular things, going to particular places, or seeing particular people. Again, you might not be consciously aware of the anxiety pattern match, but the primal parts of your brain will be preparing you for action. People with anxiety often have sleep difficulties or insomnia as well. Of course, with all those anxious thoughts going on in your brain, relaxing into sleep is going to be more difficult. You might find it difficult getting to sleep or difficult staying asleep. You may also wake up feeling very alert or very tired. The brain uses sleep to process and decharge emotional arousal, so it'll be battling with your problems from the day at night. By releasing the anxiety pattern matches, your brain will no longer suffer from the same emotional arousal, and so it can be simply easier to sleep. Finally, on our list of common symptoms, we have overwhelm and brain fog. With all those anxiety symptoms being triggered, the chemicals and hormones can start to limit your logical and strategic thinking. You may have feelings of being overwhelmed and might be struggling to think. People sometimes refer to this anxiety symptom as brain fog. Your brain knows that you don't have to be thinking about lots of logical problems if you need to be fighting or running away, so it almost turns that part of the brain off. However, as anxiety calms down, You will be able to think more easily again. We hope this information has been useful for you. Sometimes just knowing about these symptoms can actually help, because you will be okay. If you do want help, that's okay too. It's what we're here for. We have a wide range of techniques to help you deal with anxiety and to have less anxiety in the first place. Just visit the www.freeyourmind.uk website to find out more.